If I can give you any small thing in any moment of time that's going to change your perspective, then I'm going to do it. I'm addicted to it. And that's kind of what today is all about. Today is about a pivot. Today is about the tiny, tiny little thing that you can do that is a game changer for getting what you want.
Hello, and welcome to the Love Your Work Life podcast. I'm your host, Elissa Shuck. Whether you're going for that next promotion, looking for a job, or making a career pivot, I'll teach you how to navigate it all so you can have the career you want.
Welcome to Love Your Work Life, episode 156. I was preparing for this podcast recording, thinking about why I do this, really setting my intentions and expectations for how this recording would go. And one of the thoughts that came to me is, why do I keep doing this? Why? And here's the reason. It's because I love the feeling of giving people aha moments about their own worthiness. I see it happen in the eyes of my clients every Zoom coaching call. And if it's happening when I'm looking at somebody face to face, then I know there's a possibility that it's going to happen whether you're listening or watching me right now. I'm actually addicted to that feeling of, oh my gosh, I might be able to make this happen. Oh my gosh, I now see my value in a completely different way. And it doesn't matter if you are working at landing a great new job, you're working at advancing your career or leading your team. And it's about leveraging the topics that you think about, how you feel about those topics, and then pivoting. Just a tiny little thing that's going to change your patterns of behavior and your motivation from that point forward. Now, what am I really talking about here? I'm talking about the fact that any subject that you ponder, anything you think about a circumstance, is really two subjects. It's either I want it or I don't want it. If someone cuts you off in traffic, clearly we all don't want that, right? I don't want that. So what does that mean? It means what you do want is an easy flow of traffic and respectful drivers all around you. Wouldn't that be awesome? What if you're in job search mode and you don't want to encounter someone who seems disengaged in the conversation? What do you want? You want someone that's engaged and interested and really listening to you. Everything you think about, every circumstance, every subject is really two subjects. What do you want out of that? What do you not want out of that? And to be fair, most of the time our brains go to what we don't want. Makes perfect sense because that kind of is survival mode. That's primitive thinking. Staying away from what we don't want keeps us safe and secure. However, we can leverage what we don't want to figure out what we do want so that we are all out of the miserable middle. The miserable middle is, I don't know what I want. The miserable middle is, I can't figure it out. Yes, you can. You can figure it out by asking yourself, what don't I want out of this situation, so that you can be clearer about what you do want. And the way you know that something is what you don't want, there are some things that are logical, like the example I used with traffic, right? Clearly, we don't want people cutting us off or tailgating and all the things. But the way to hone in about some of the deeper things in terms of wants and don't wants is to pay attention to your emotions. because a negative emotion is a really good signal that there's something about the topic that's unwanted. Otherwise, you wouldn't be feeling bad. A negative emotion is an indicator that something really important is going on here, that there's something about this topic that is wanted and unwanted. And knowing what you don't want is the clarity about what you do want. That's what's crucial. That's what's so important about paying attention to the two subjects, the two thoughts, the feelings going on during any circumstance that you might be encountering. So let's get practical here about what you can do. We know that our automatic thinking is going to be most of the time on the negative. We're predisposed to that, as I said, because it keeps us safe and secure. It's the way our brains are wired. So instead of trying to resist it, instead of trying to move super quickly to the positive, or worse, kind of push down those negative feelings, let's pay attention to how you're feeling about a certain subject and what that might be indicating to you. We use the example of driving in traffic. Not wanting people to cut you off means you do want people to be respectful. That's the pivot. As soon as you think, I don't want people to cut me off, or why would they do that? Immediately pivot to what you do want. I want people to be respectful. Just this little thing, and most of the time it's the opposite. It's kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum. That's a really good place to start. Some things might be more nuanced, but if you start with, if this is the unwanted, then the wanted must be the opposite. Think about that. So if you want to have a promotion, instead of thinking, I never get ahead, change your thinking, pivot your thinking to, I want to get ahead. Now, take it a little deeper, because what you've just done between I'm never going to get ahead and I want to get ahead is, with the opposites, you've come to this neutral place, this neutral moment in time. And neutral is actually very powerful. If you study the vibrations of emotion, you know that neutral is the first step on the positive side of those emotional frequencies, the frequencies that are attached to emotions that science has studied. So let's start at neutral. Now, to move into feeling better. And why do you want to feel better? Because feeling better means you're more likely to see opportunities for moving ahead, to be willing to do the things that may be required to move ahead, like have a conversation with someone and let them know, hey, I'm interested in that role. Paying attention to the feelings first at neutral and then moving into positive feelings so that you'll be more motivated. The way you do that is why. Why is it? Or what about that promotion is attractive to you? What are the reasons that you want that promotion? Well, it could be more money. It could be more influence. It could be more responsibility. Think of all of the things that promotion means to you. Maybe it means more to your family. You'll be empowered to do more of the things that you want to do as a family. Lessons for your kids, vacations, college fund. You move from neutral in just acknowledging the unwanted and the wanted to a more positive feeling and therefore motivation by painting the picture of success, painting the picture of what it looks like. If your main motivation for a promotion is because you want to go on a really awesome family vacation, you want to have the funds to do that, what is the vacation? What does that look like? Paint that picture. You're going deeper and deeper and deeper into the whys, into the whats, into the picture of success, what it looks like after you get the promotion. That is the change that is going to change everything, beginning with that pivot. Because the way we feel is always a result of a thought we have chosen. Think about that, my friend. Your thoughts are your choice. And we can't control everything. We have 60,000 thoughts coming at us, right? 60,000 thoughts going on in our brain in a given day. That's what people have said. That's what studies have shown. It's by slowing down the process and taking charge that makes the difference. And your indicators are wanted and unwanted, and making that pivot based on how you feel. I was talking about this a couple of days ago. Sometimes feeling or thinking about painful situations can motivate positive actions because it means you want to help. It means that you are willing to be vulnerable and share that story with someone who you think it could help. You're not indulging in it for the sake of pity. You're experiencing it again because of empathy, because of love for maybe not wanting someone else to go through what you went through, or just helping someone else not feel alone in the world. That's why sometimes that negative is that signal. Something else is going on here. How do I interpret it? How do I leverage it? And if the end result is always contribution or helping someone else or an opportunity for self-reflection that helps you make a better decision in the future, then let that negative emotion serve you in the best possible way. What is the deeper thing going on? And if it's really about not feeling worthy, not deserving, everything is always going wrong, if it's those kinds of things and the negative emotions attached to that, that's your pivot moment, my friend. That is your moment to say, hey, wait a minute. What do I actually want? Because the unwanted is making that so very clear. Maybe you're stuck in a toxic work environment, and that's how you feel. I never think anyone is actually stuck anywhere, but it actually can feel that way. What is it that you want? I want an environment that respects me, that sees my value add. I want a team that understands the aim that we're all going after here. When you start using this pivot, this moment in time, as Viktor Frankl says, that split second to decide the meaning you're going to attach to anything, the thought that you're going to choose, you are choosing to put yourself on a better path towards achieving anything you want. It's moving from unwanted to wanted. It's moving from focusing on the problem to focusing on the solution. And it's moving from feelings that keep you stuck in the miserable middle to feelings that motivate actions, that motivate inspired thoughts, that motivates ideas. You can never find what you're looking for if your belief is that it's lost. You're never going to land the job that increases your pay if you don't believe it's out there. It's just not possible for your brain to see it, my friends. Your reticular activating system is closing that possibility off to you. Because more than anything, your brain wants harmony. The pivot is you taking control and choosing the harmony you want to see instead of letting your brain work on default. So practice the pivot. Catch yourself. One of the best ways I know to do this is kind of a thought download. Download the thoughts. Is this a thought you want to think? Is this a thought that is about the unwanted? And in that case, literally use that to pivot to the wanted. Get a whole list going. And then pick out the 4 or 5 things on that list that are deeply wanted. And then paint that vivid picture of why it's wanted, of what your life looks like after the wanted is a reality. That's going to help you move more consistently towards wanteds versus unwanteds and the goals and things and everything, all the things that you have in mind for yourself, your career, your team. All right, my friends, I'll talk to you again soon. If you like listening to this podcast, I invite you to visit the Love Your Work Life website at elissashuck-careercoach.com. On the site, you're going to find free resources and information about all of my coaching programs, everything you need to land a great job, advance your career, and lead and build an awesome team. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and don't forget to follow me on LinkedIn.